I'm Chris Harlow and I'm the prospective parliamentary candidate for UKIP in the Cotswolds. Welcome to South Cerney. This is a 1,000-year-old Cotswold village and, as you can see, extremely picturesque. In the middle of last year, a planning application was made to turn the building behind me into a convenience store. And that application was opposed by over 140 people in the village. Those people wrote to the local authority and registered their complaints and signed a petition, and the hearing eventually went to the planning committee. But despite there being huge, overwhelming opposition both from residents and businesses and the local parish council, the planning committee approved the application to turn an unsuitable building into a convenience store. Now, the building is unsuitable because it's on a road which is extremely busy, it's close to a junction, it's where children cross the road on their way to school, and when commercial vehicles come to unload outside the shop, they will have to park extremely close to a road junction, and they will inhibit the view of people coming into and out of the store by car. It's only a matter of time before there is an accident that will have been directly caused by this development. Now, the planning committee were implementing something called the National Policy Planning Framework, and that has been introduced by the coalition government, the Conservative and Liberal Democrat government, which essentially means that local authorities have to approve planning applications provided they fit in with their local plan, of which Cotswold District Council don't yet have one, and they have to be sustainable. And it's my belief that this is neither. This site is extremely close to 3 residential properties. It's opposite the conservation area of this village, and it's on this busy road. So from its location, it's unsuitable. The applicants have suggested that it will create 20 jobs, but it's likely to cost 20 jobs as other businesses in the village close, because there simply isn't room for competitive forces within a small village of this size. When the planning committee heard the application, they restricted the opening hours so that the residents wouldn't be disadvantaged outside normal working hours. And they restricted it from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 at night, which is still fairly long hours for a convenience store in a small village. And bear in mind that within 3 miles of where I'm standing, within 3 miles of South Cerney, there is a 24-hour Tesco store. Some 2 or 3 months after approving the planning application, the applicant decided that they wanted to extend the opening hours of the proposed store from 7 in the morning to 11 at night on 7 days a week. That, fortunately, has been turned down. We're still left with this blemish on the landscape, threatened against the wishes of the people of South Cerney.
I have to say I'm not too happy about it at all, because I came up against a planning department that I'd never had the opportunity to come in front of before. It was a new experience and not a very good one. Thinking that we lived in a democratic country, we suddenly found that an individual's voice with regard to planning, or a village's or a town's even, isn't always heard. In our case, it certainly wasn't heard. We had a particular proposal, application go in that many people objected to, took the time to put in their objections. At the end of the day, we felt they would be heard and debated at the planning hearing. Having attended that, we were quite shocked, a number of us, to find that things weren't discussed at all. The actual dangers to this proposal is where it's located, the danger of the road to the elderly people who come down on their mobility cars, the school children, the bus stops literally just up the road. There's not enough parking, there's nowhere for the lorries to unload except in the high street, which obviously just causes total and utter congestion. The main bus route comes through here every hour, the school buses. It's endless. We don't feel that by the planning committee not having come out to site to actually view for themselves and get an overall picture of what actually will go on here in the high street when it's busy, really wasn't good enough. It didn't give them enough idea of what this actually will involve. And it's a death trap, it's an accident waiting to happen. And obviously none of us want this to happen. Well, the support from our local representatives, we have to say, was very little. We understand a lot of them really didn't like the idea of this going ahead. But the parish council were very much behind us. The only people who actually came forward to help us with the legislation side of it, or the legality side of it, should I say, and perhaps how we should go forward and put our objections forward, was actually the Cotswold chairman of the local UKIP party, who's been extremely helpful. We had only him to rely on, really, and he's helped this village no end. So many people have voiced their opinions, and it's quite interesting to know there hasn't been one person that we've seen put in writing that they're in favour of it. Not one. The village is up in arms over it.
Now, it's UKIP's view that the planning regime in this country needs changing, and it needs changing in a couple of ways. Firstly, if there's a development which adversely affects a village or a town, then if 5% of the population object, a referendum should be called, and that referendum would be the deciding factor. So in other words, it would give the people the power to decide what happens in their town or village. And that's what we firmly believe. The other change that UKIP would make is that we would allow the objectors to planning applications to appeal against a planning committee decision. Now, at the moment, it's only the developer, the person who's put the planning permission forward, who can appeal. And that means that when the planning committee considers any application, it knows that it can only get an appeal from the developer. It can't get an appeal from the residents or from the objectors, and therefore they are unlikely to judge an application objectively. In this particular case, we have an unresponsive, large corporate body which is not engaging with the local population, which tells the local people when confronted by their objections that they will be bringing a hub to the village. Well, the village has existed for 1,000 years without the kind of hub they're planning to bring, and it's done so extremely successfully. They say that they'll be bringing in different lines of products, fresh produce and butchery and so on, but those are available in the village and in the surrounding area anyway. So they will not be bringing anything new to the village at all. All they will be bringing is an opportunity for them to make money, which they will take away from the village. They won't be patronising local suppliers, and they will be running the business from a distance of 200 miles, rather than the existing businesses which are locally managed, locally owned, and use local suppliers. This is another example of where the interests of ordinary people are outweighed by the interests of corporate Britain. And we in UKIP believe that we need to stand up for the interests of the ordinary people against those with power, those with money, and those with influence.